the very beginning of the Zelda timeline, ages before any other game, lays a story that begins the creation of the Master Sword and the origin of the curse in Skyward Sword. Link and Zelda settle on the surface after defeating the devil of the series. But in his final breath, he dooms Hyrule by placing Demise's curse, a never-ending cycle of reincarnation of the Demon King, whose hatred for those of the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero is everlasting. The Kingdom of Hyrule is established sometime after this, alongside the construction of the Temple of Time by Rauru. This temple was solely built to protect the omnipotent Triforce, an object that grants the user a wish. Tiny Porkyri descend from the sky while the first demonic presence showed itself among them in the evil sorcerer Vati. Vati used the current Zelda's body as a mechanism to extract light force energy. This enabled Vati to transform into Vati's Wrath. But this incarnation of Link was ready. He wielded the Four Sword, granting him the ability to split into four. Link defeated Vati and peace returned to Hyrule for a time. Vati, who was presumed dead, suddenly appeared, but he held no memory of his previous life. Instead, he went on a mindless rampage. The Link of this time took up the Four Sword of the past and sealed Vati within it, bringing peace to Hyrule once more. Leading into the time-altering tale rests a story that is easily forgotten. The Hyrulean Civil War raged unabated for countless eras. This is widely believed to be a war fought between the Hylians and Sheikah. As evidence for torture and other dark mysteries regarding the war rests within the Sheikah town of Kakariko Village, specifically inside the Shadow Temple. The Sheikah also are strangely extinct other than Impa in Ocarina of Time. During the Fires of War, a Hyrulean mother found refuge in Korkiri Forest and entrusted her baby to the Great Deku Tree. On the other side of Hyrule, a young Ganondorf, king of the Gerudo, was staging a plan to overtake the royal family. He was successful, establishing dominion over the land by laying his hands on the Triforce, which granted him the Triforce of Power. The young boy who grew up in the forest pulled the Master Sword but was sent 7 years into the future as he wasn't old enough to combat Ganondorf. This did work as Link was able to seal him in the Sacred Realm 7 years later, but this also caused a timeline split as Zelda instructed him to go back to his original time 7 years prior to naturally regain his lost childhood. Upon re-entering the child timeline, his companion, Navi, mysteriously flew out of the Temple of Time to never be seen again. He warned a young Zelda of the future events and set off to look for Navi. This reality kickstarts the child timeline. It is heavily believed that the Hylians and Gerudo went to war in this timeline, as the Gerudo were drove out of Hyrule. The origin of this conflict derived from the royal family sentencing Ganondorf to death. Heeding the Hero of Time's warning, they chained him up and were ready to do away with an evil who'd plague their future. Unfortunately for the royal family, the gods already elected Ganondorf to be the bearer of the Triforce of Power. With this sudden divine intervention, Ganondorf broke free of his shackles, but the sages quickly responded and sent him to the Twilight Realm as a last resort. Meanwhile, the Hero of Time depressingly searched every nook and cranny in hopes of finding his one true companion, the only one who traveled through time and back with him. He searched the Lost Woods. While doing so, he unknowingly entered a parallel world known as Termina. This world was on the brink of annihilation in just 3 days. So Link did only what he knew best, saved a world or a time that wasn't his own. After doing so, he returned to Hyrule and seemingly settled down with Milan. This is another very strong theory in the fanbase, because Link and Twilight Princess grew up on a ranch just like Milan, and he is confirmed to be related to the Hero of Time. The Hero of Twilight comes into contact with a ghost of his ancestor. Ever since returning to the child era in Ocarina of Time, the Hero of Time lamented the fact that he was not remembered as a hero in his own timeline. This is the reason why he lingers as a ghost and passes down his sword techniques in Twilight Princess. Ganondorf is defeated and peace returns to Hyrule for several hundred years. The final game of the child timeline kicks off, Four Swords Adventures. You remember this one, right? Wrong, it's okay, you'll remember after. Hold on 1 second. The Gerudo rekindle their relationship with Hyrule, but a new Ganondorf is born into this tribe. This is the only time a second incarnation of Ganondorf has ever appeared. That is, prior to Tears of the Kingdom, but we'll get to that later. Okay, remember Vaulty from before the timeline split? Well, this new Ganondorf set Vaulty free of his prison. Super unfortunately in this game, we aren't granted a visual of Ganondorf, as he transforms into the monster Ganon before the final fight. Vaulty and Ganon are defeated and the child timeline is closed. For now. Let's now return to the fabled Ocarina of Time. So the timeline that we just covered stems from the reality where Link comes back in time after defeating Ganondorf. The timeline that he left is known as the adult timeline. His departure has bigger consequences than one may realize, as when Ganondorf crawls back from the depths of the Sacred Realm, the people of Hyrule have nothing to combat him since the hero has left this timeline, and his bloodline is non-existent. The only choice they had was to plead to the gods. The gods did answer with an endless torrential downpour, sealing Ganondorf once again, but now inside of the Great Sea. Many more years pass before Ganondorf breaks free once more. In search of the Triforce he was, with one goal in mind: to unflood these waters and return Hyrule to its former glory. Toon Link, who does not have any blood relation to the hero of time, gathers the shards of the Triforce of Courage and makes his way to Ganondorf. This young hero is swiftly casted aside and Ganondorf finally brings all three pieces of the Triforce together one more time. Yet the king during the Great Flood snuck behind Ganon and touched the Triforce before him, wishing for the ancient lands to be forever sealed. Ganondorf then laughs in amusement before being stabbed in the head by Toon Link. Link and Tetra then head off in search of a new land. This is when Tetra gets captured by a ghost ship, so he slays the beast and saves Tetra yet again. Their journey continues after months of sailing as they discover a new continent. This is where Tetra founded New Hyrule. 100 years after the country's founding, the great-great-grandchild of Tetra faced a new threat, known as Malladus, the Demon King. Luckily, there was a hero around who just so happened to look identical to the fabled hero of Winds. He sealed Malladus, and this is where the adult timeline concludes, at least for now. So that's 2 timelines covered, and now 1 remain. This one is super simple, trust. At the conclusion to Ocarina of Time, a battle that'll determine Hyrule's very existence took place, and Link failed. Ganondorf, with the entire Triforce in hand, transformed into the Demon King. As a last resort, the sages and Zelda somehow still managed to seal Ganon and the Triforce inside the Sacred Realm. After a brief peace, knowledge of the Triforce inside the Sacred Realm began to spread. Many tried to enter the realm to gain access to the Triforce, but were engulfed into the dark world that Ganondorf transformed it into. The sages finally were able to seal the Sacred Realm, but innocent lives were lost during the sealing process, as demons crawled from the dark world and killed a majority of the Hylian knights protecting the sages. This is where A Link to the Past comes in. Ganon's forces became so strong that they plunged Hyrule into chaos. Leading the charge was a mysterious wizard known as Agathim. He sent this era Zelda to the dark world. Link, who was a descendant of the Knights of Hyrule, possessed qualities of a mystical hero. He was able to slaughter Agathim and then Ganon himself. This hero then went on a couple more adventures in the Downfall timeline. The same exact Ganon who transformed into the Demon King way back at the end of Ocarina of Time came back countless times in this Downfall timeline, but was always sent back by the hero of that time. Thousands upon thousands of years go by, and the history of the past turns into myth. The era of Hyrule's founding, depicted in Tears of the Kingdom, either takes place after all the other games in the 3 timelines, or someplace else. But remember how I said the second Ganondorf appeared in Four Swords Adventures? Well, a third Ganondorf is shown in this mysterious era of Hyrule's founding. We don't know his exact origin as of now, but we do know that he stole a secret stone from this time's royal family and transformed into the age-old Demon King. Luckily, the Hyrule King of this time was able to seal him deep below Hyrule Castle. But every so often, Ganondorf's aura summoned Calamity Ganon. The first Calamity was said to take place 10,000 years before the events of Breath of the Wild. The unknown hero of this time frame is said to be the one to send back the first Calamity. Fast forward 10,000 years and the reemergence of Calamity Ganon wipes out the present-day champions, King of Hyrule, and even the hero. Zelda sends Link to the Shrine of Resurrection created by the Sheikah long ago, while she holds Calamity Ganon for 100 years, awaiting the return of her hero. Without any any memory of his past, he finally awakes and defeats Calamity Ganon. Hyrule is seemingly ready to step forward into an age of peace. But when Zelda and Link were investigating the depths deep below Hyrule Castle, they found a tall, mummified man who suddenly awoke from his millennia slumber. Zelda picks up a shiny stone that fell from this man before she suddenly fell deep beneath the depths. Luckily, this stone teleported her, while Link is saved by a green hand that was holding Ganondorf in place. Zelda wakes up in the quote-unquote era of Hyrule's founding. Following Ganondorf's imprisonment in this past, she eats a secret stone which transformed her into an immortal dragon, allowing her to stay alive for a countless number of years, just to reach Link in the far distant future and to hand him the recovered Master Sword that Ganondorf damaged. Link plummets into the earth and strikes down the ancient Ganondorf, concluding the end of the entire Zelda timeline.